My God, it has been a week, friends. From whiskey leaks to professors fleeing the United States for Canada. I mean, it is a whirlwind of absolute fuckery. And today, I am going to give you my top 3 stories out of everything that's insane that folks need to be paying attention to. So, buckle up, dear friends. It's time for the Danielle Moodie Show. Let's go. So, friends, like I said, there's just too much to pay attention to. So, on this episode of the Danielle Moody Show, I'm giving you my top 3 stories to make sense of the nonsense. Lost in the shuffle this week was an announcement by esteemed Yale professor Jason Stanley that he is leaving the United States for Toronto. The professor has said this about his decision to leave, which is that, look, his grandmother fled Berlin when with his father in 1939, and he says that the US may become a fascist dictatorship. Jason Stanley, who wrote the 2018 book How Fascism Works: The Politics of Us and Them, has accepted a position at the University of Toronto's Munk School of Global Affairs and Public Policy. Stanley told the Daily News, a philosophy profession website, that he made the decision to, quote, raise my kids in a country that is not tilting towards a fascist dictatorship. I mean, my God. The fact that the man who literally wrote the book on fascism is now fleeing an elite institution like Yale to go to Canada so that he is free to write about dictatorship and fascism in the United States. If that doesn't set off alarm bells for everybody, I don't know what the hell will. But he's not the only professor that is leaving. You have Timothy Snyder, another fascism professor that is leaving, along with his wife, Marcy Shore, who's also leaving. All 3 of them work at the elite institution known as Yale, are headed to Toronto, and it's for their safety. Folks, oh dear God, before we dive into more, let me say this. I am so close to hitting 25,000 subscribers. So if you have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so right now. And to help the fairies inside of the algorithm, please like, comment, and share this episode with everyone that you know. We're trying to hit 25,000 and grow Damnation even bigger. Appreciate you. Now, let's dive into our dystopia, shall we? Great. Friends, since the beginning of March, we have witnessed horrifying headline after horrifying headline of students being kidnapped by ICE and detained. In one of the most chilling stories to date, and this is not to say that one is more chilling than the other, but my God, the one that happened this week with a doctoral scholar from Tufts University. She was caught on video walking, talking on the phone with her mother. She was headed to an iftar to break her Ramadan fast. Rumsia Ozturk was then approached by first one man coming head on, masked up over his nose, plain clothes. And then you see in the video as a man comes from one side and then another side and then in back of her. The man in front of her grabs her wrists and she says, "Can I call the police?" And his response was, We are the authority. I don't know about you, but when I saw that video, a pit lodged in my stomach the size of a toddler. It is terrifying to think that in the United States, in broad daylight, this young woman could be whisked away in an unmarked vehicle and just disappeared. Finally, though, some members of Congress are taking action. This is authoritarianism. Lawmakers demand release of abducted tough student. Rumsia Ozturk's case is one of several, quote, deeply troubling incidents, they wrote. Quote, the administration should not summarily detain and deport legal residents of this country merely for expressing their political views. Only 34 members so far have signed on to a letter that was put together by Ayanna Pressley. And it writes in part this, quote, the rationale for this arrest appears to be this student's expression of her political views. 34 lawmakers led by Ayanna Pressley and Senators Ed Markey and Elizabeth Warren, all Massachusetts Democrats, wrote to Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and ICE Acting Director Todd Lyons, saying, quote, we are calling for full due process in this case and are seeking answers about this case and about ICE's policies that has led to the identification and arrest of university students with valid legal status. Here's the thing. America now, friends, joins the likes of Turkey, Chile, Argentina, and other countries who have had or do currently have dictatorships where they have made it a policy of disappearing dissidents, those that do not agree with them. This isn't supposed to happen in the land of the free, but under Trumpism, all bets are off. And speaking of policies, well, I guess one of them is to coordinate, war plans via signal chat. Take a look at this image from the New Yorker. Oh, how I love the New Yorker. The New Yorker got it right. This administration thinks that they are in some kind of video game, playing with people's lives while playing G.I. Joe and Jane. They cosplay tough while commanding the power to wield such cruelty. The audacity in their responses has been truly breathtaking. Like, look at them, just wee on a missile headed to Yemen, right? Because in that signal chat, folks, which I'm sure all of you have seen and read, or maybe you were included in, who knows? Because only Jeff Goldberg from The Atlantic was, had integrity enough to say that he was actually in the room where it was happening. But my God, I mean, this is what happened this week, and it's just 1 week, and these are only 3 of the stories. I feel like under Trump, it's like each day feels like 10 years. So it's only been like 2 months and maybe 2 weeks. I don't know. But I, like you, feel like I am 917 years old. And I will tell you this. One of my favorite cultural critics and authors, Demetria Lucas, she got it right. The author and world traveler and cultural critic had a brilliant assessment on her IG of this regime that I want to close out with today. She writes this. She says, that the VP who couldn't find somebody to speak to him in Greenland and was in that signal chat, he's positioned to decide what's cut and what's kept. And here, friends, she is referring to the issues that this administration has with the arts, with museums, and putting VP Dunce Vance in charge of deciding what is history and what isn't. She goes on to say this. Also, if you're trying to figure out how I keep predicting all this stuff, my equation is cruelty is the point, plus erasure is the goal, times what would the showrunner of The Handmaid's Tale do equals X. They also curate their decisions to play for TV. Every day is a new episode. This is what I find so interesting because I want you to pay attention to what she says next when she's talking about every day is a new episode. So take a listen. It sounds insane unless you're a TV writer. Every day can be broken into A story, B story, C story. It's why they always talk about ratings and what's popular. Why everyone high ranking or popular is some kind of extreme character. They're marketing their movement. The government might as well be a set. They don't care if we like the show as long as we are watching and engage. Start thinking of it through that lens and you can predict what's coming. Or just read Project 2025. I mean, I've been telling people to read Project 2025 for the last 2 goddamn years, and apparently I was speaking into a void because we're all here in this hellscape. But she's absolutely right. Everything that they do, everything that they say is orchestrated for TV. It is to keep us glued to every single one of their cruel and horrific movements. Just like every day is like the penultimate episode, just keeping you on the edge of your seat, except it's keeping us all on the edge of our nerves or on the edge of a fucking breakdown. Folks, sometimes we have got to tune out in order to just keep our wits about us. That's why I am doing these weekend shows so that you can just take in just enough of the crazy to keep you informed, but not enough to drive you insane. That is it for me today, dear friends, on the Danielle Moodie Show. As always, power to the people and to all the people power. Get woke, stay sane, and in these extraordinarily dangerous times, dear friends, do stay safe.